Hey guys, here is round 4 of Agility League. This week, there's a lot of different handling options as well as some off-course options and stuff like that. It's a very fun and fast course, but just something to be aware of when we go through it. So I'm just gonna start just finding where the course goes so we can find the best options. So there's the course. So let's just start from 1, 2, 3 to 4. So as we start, and we're going 1 to 2 to 3, as a handler, you could run it on this side, or you could run it on this side. And a couple important things to be aware of is the tunnel. Is the tunnel going to be more shifted this way, or is it going to be more shifted that way, causing you to be farther away from our dog walk, which some dogs will like you to be closer and some dogs like you to be farther, or they may not care. So this is just something to be aware of. Right now on paper, it looks like the tunnel is going to be more shifted this way, causing you to make a bigger arc around. One thing to be aware of too is maybe, depending on you and your dog, if you're going to start on this side and trying to get around this tunnel, depending on the dog, they may just take the dog walk and you don't have to be right here to support it. Others can be farther away, and with this you can then step into their path and then kind of make a diagonal-ish way that way. It kind of just depends, or maybe you can kind of start here so you don't have to go as farther around, or if you're here then you have to go all the way around, and then it's just really awkward and you're behind going to number 3. So some things to be aware of. Another thing to be aware of is if you are going on this side and you have to go around, as you're going this way, it might cause your dog to want to take this side if you don't get up there enough to support it, and if they don't have a stopped dog walk. Luckily, they don't have a lot of acceleration going into the dog walk, which will help them not just leave the dog walk as fast and get up there. So you can, being on either side can create 2 different options for you. So that for the dog, there's 2 different paths the dog can take. The dog can either wrap this way and go this way, or, which we kind of touched base about last week a little bit, is they can go this way around and then go this way. One thing about going this way is that when the dog comes here, they have a more direct path this way, where this arcs them landing out here, almost making a easier and better approach coming this way. But also it really depends on you and your dog and just what works best, but just some things to think about. So depending on which way you want to go, so if you're on this side, you have 2 options. You can either push your dog around and then go that way. You can come in here for a forced front cross and then have your dog go this way. Another thing, if your dog's good at front crosses or rear crosses, is you can push them to the back, and then as they get here, you can then rear cross this and then go that way. So a couple different options on that side. Another thing is if you're over on this side, you can do the little in connect with your dog, but make sure that you don't push them to number 4. Really hold them tight and then flip them over number 3 and go that way. You could also run it on this side and then get in a front cross or blind cross here and then do the same thing we talked about on this side. Another option, if your dog knows like an in or a mimi, or I can kind of explain it tomorrow, but you can run it on this side and have your dog here. So as you're running that path going this way, your dog will be coming into you and in. I call it an in, or some people might say like mimi. You can also just say come or here. Really connect with them, bring them here, push them back over number 3, usually with your outside hand might help, and then they can come this way. So a couple different options. We can also talk about it tomorrow as well. So then we'll go on to however your dog, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is all pretty straightforward, here to here. The next thing is as they come through this tunnel, this is what we talked about last Tuesday, is a lot of your dogs were finding the first thing they see, which will probably be this jump right here. And most, I would say, if not all the dogs saw that, and they either were good dogs and just came with you, or they decided to take the jump in front of them because we did not call them as we wanted to go this way. So it's super important that even if you're going to start running to number 9, you still call and get some type of eye contact out of number 7, so that way your dog doesn't take either this jump or this jump in front of them. So that's super important, a lot what we touched base on last week, of making sure you connect as your dog comes out of this tunnel. And one nice thing too that you can help, especially this week with this area, is that you're gonna be, as you send them in here, you can already slowly, you can pull off a little bit. If you do pull off though, you don't want to pull your dog off the tunnel entrance, but this will allow, if you start going this way and even showing some deceleration as well, it will help them turn out of number 7 going to number 8. So that's something to think of, is just, can you maybe do something here to allow them to turn out with a better turn going to number 8. Another thing to think about too is this is a nice little box area we get to work with. So there's many different off-course options. So it's something to be aware of when we come pass through here a bunch of different times. And even to look for on courses is the box and how you have to maybe bring your dog through it, or they see, the line ahead, but they actually have to turn, or even this jump right here. So as we move on, 8, this is pretty nice. They're going to come out, should pretty easily take this. As we get to number 11, something to think about is just that 5 is a nice off-course option as they're needing to turn this way. So just be aware of that. Probably shouldn't be too big of a deal, but just something to be aware of. So as we're going this way, couple options. Your dog should take this jump pretty easily. Just make sure you support it, especially as you're wanting. If you curl in too early, then they could easily just come with you. But for here, we can either just run it on this side, or we can run it here and then get a front cross or a blind cross in here. Front cross might be better if you're worried about your dog taking the off-course number 5 jump. Otherwise, a blind cross can be super well and keep you in motion. The biggest thing is just trust your dog and do it enough so that they know to turn with you. So that's 2 different options as they come. You could also rear cross the teeter. I personally don't like rear crossing the teeter because dogs don't like to really drive forward on it, and they can easily turn around or jump off or who knows what. And just for the sake of hitting my own self in the face. So, but you can, if your dog is really good at it and drives forward, then by all means, please do it. But just one thing to consider. Another option too, so after, as the dog's on the teeter, if you're on this side, you can get a front or a blind cross in as well on this side, getting you on this lead. And here's another couple different things. If your dog stays well on the teeter and has a very good stay and won't fly off and catch up to you, you could stay on this side and try to get up here. But if you're gonna do this, their dogs most likely will come this way. Once again, depends on how the course is set up and spacing and all that. But if you're not up here and trying to support this, your dog can easily come this way. But if you can get up there and make sure that you really show them the angle in this way, this could be an option. Another option as well is, as you come through here, you can run it on this side, and we can either rear cross 14, or you can come up here, do a front cross or blind cross, and then go into 14, 15. Another important piece is that if you're going to rear cross, so the dog can see this for sure, so you just need to not put too much pressure on this line right here, because if you start to angle yourself at all this way, they could easily go to the number 16 jump. Another thing is if you hang too far back and show number 14 jump but too much, you could send them into the tunnel. The other thing is if you go up here for a front or blind cross and your blind cross is too late, you could lose them going behind you over this jump. Also, if you're in the wrong positioning, you could also get them, and then your body and everything, feet and whatnot, could push them right into the tunnel. So just a couple important things to be aware of. It's just, of course, your timing and just what you want to do. A biggest thing, a front blind cross can be super nice if you can really get on this side, do it early to get them on your right side, and then just you can even do extra, get there over even farther than you think, so that way you really show this line and not show any idea to go to the tunnel. So that's one option, but front cross can be good too, because then you see them the whole time and you really have them right there. So then they approach the weaves, which is good. Nice little weave entrance. And then once again, there's one right there. We'll see how far it is tomorrow. But one thing to be aware of is that you're turning back this direction. So once again, think about that there's a 13 pull right here, and you want to make sure you see them complete all 12 pulls before you pull away. And don't get too far away, and also don't get too far ahead, because if you get too far ahead, then you could easily step into this jump. So if you are needing to stay up there and you get stuck, I would basically just say keep walking or jogging in place and really get them to the last pull, and then you can start turning. Luckily they're coming out this way, so that helps too from pulling them off a little bit as well. And then you get them over number 16. And then another thing to be aware of is the lovely box, and there's a tunnel entrance right at the last jump. So as you're coming this way, don't step too far, and connect right here. And put your body, feet, everything this direction, and look at the jump, or even ahead, honestly, and make them get over this jump and out at the tunnel. So that's basically probably everything. If you guys have any questions to go over, especially number 3, that's probably one of the most confusing. And even this box can be confusing too. It's hard just to know what it will look like with the angles, because the angles of the jumps, especially these two, I think will make a big difference of how you will want to handle it. So we'll see how it is tomorrow. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, we can talk about it tomorrow.